KLT. Follow me, I am the leader. Stepping on them like I'm coming for freedom. Marching on them for them starving, tell me who gon' feed them. They won't walk over X when you need them. Black Panther, no Disney movie. We gon' walk them down with them eagles. Free them. They say what they like it's flattery. I speak the truth in this prophecy. Stay strapped with that sword and the IGP. Like Moses, son, solo, come follow me. Long way from that store where them pilots be. I had that row and no total, no bother me. Sitting at the top, no monopoly. I ain't the one come and follow me. Running the game so long in the breather. Strikes on my back like they beat them. Gotta stay strong, you must finish my freedom. Gotta stay young, let that switch up that light when they see me. I'm the red in the game, so you better take it easy. Stepping on my toes, you don't really wanna see me. They hit that they gone Houdini. Trying to make me seem rubbing on my neck, I'm pop out like a genius. Still on my grind, you know we bread. Running it back and I call it that replay. I wanted it back, they on my back. Still wanna balance best friend what we say. I'd like to give all praise to the Heavenly Father. Kahalab no yo. Now, I know a few of our brothers and sisters been going over this the past week or so, but I just want to add a little something to it. 1 second, fam. Fair use, family. For criticism, reporting, teaching, and parody. We're going to do a little bit of criticism and teaching, family.
اصولا هولوکاست رو 2 سوال ما دربارش باید جواب بدیم. یک، این که اتفاق افتاده یا نه. هرچه برای ما گفتن کسانی بودن که انگشت اتهام دروغگویی به اونها نه در دوره فعلی تاریخ، همیشه تاریخ بوده. یعنی کیا؟ یعنی خود اون کسانی که میگن ما رو سوزوندن. اینا استاد دروغگویی و دروغ پردازی بودن. خود اونا گفتن. بنابراین اصل این که یهودی سوزی بوده این مورد تحریریه. کوره های آدم سوزی گفتن این کوره ها بوده. هر چی رفت گفتن آقا این کوره ها کجاست؟ افتادن تو تناقض. گفتن نه، کوره وجود نداشته، با گاز اینا رو میکشتن. خب این اتاق گاز کجا؟ اتاق گاز متحرک بوده. ماشینهایی داشتن که یهودی ها رو وقتی میگرفتن سوار اینا رو میکردن ببرنشون در اردوگاه. بنابراین اگه آدرس اتاق گاز میخوای، آخه شما اتاق گازی که نشون میدی با این تعدادی که میدی نمیشه. خب 6 میلیون نفر شما میگی سوزوندن، اتاق گاز نشون میده یا اتاق گازه؟ شما روزی 50 تا بخوای اون تو سوزونید 30 سال طول میکشه. اصلا یهودی سوزی نبوده. یهودی ستیزی معنا نداشته. کلن یهودی سوزی وجود نداشته. یعنی اصلا این که 6 میلیون یهودی رو اردوشان سوخته باشه این هم چیزی هم وجود خارجی نداشته. چرا؟ چون اونایی که برای ما نقل کردن نقلشون زیر سواله و ما شاهدی نداریم. این هولوکاست دروغ مطلقه.
Tonight, Adidas has become the latest company to end its partnership with the rapper formerly known as Kanye West after his string of anti-Semitic remarks. The sportswear brand said, quote, "It does not tolerate anti-Semitism or any hate speech, and his comments were unacceptable and dangerous." Earlier tonight, Sidney Persing asked a rabbi in North Texas to weigh in.
As an Orthodox Jew in Rockwall, Texas, Rabbi Moshe Kalmanson hears this a lot.
I think you're the first Jewish person I've ever met.
And he loves those moments where he can teach a neighbor about his faith.
This is the Siddur.
About his family.
Whoa.
About his traditions.
I've gotten questions about my tzitzit.
So everyone can see what makes a Jew.
You want to knock it down? Knock it down.
Jewish.
Otherwise, you're relying on social media, maybe. And there's so much room for misinformation there.
On social media recently, the rapper formerly known as Kanye West got a lot of attention for sharing anti-Semitic tweets. Days later, people online and in person celebrated his remarks.
Yep.
Shortly,
We need to understand this anti-Semitic, family. We're going to get into that. We're going to continue.
Before Irving spoke today, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver issued a statement saying Irving made a, quote, reckless decision to post a link to a film containing deeply offensive anti-Semitic material. He added he is, quote, disappointed that he has not offered an unqualified apology and will be meeting with Irving in the next week. This is the first time that any statement from the team, from the league, or the PA has specifically addressed Irving. Here now with Chiney Agumake, Richard Jefferson, Vince Carter, and our guest, Rabbi Erez Sherman from Sinai Temple here in Los Angeles. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Rabbi, I want to start with you here. What is your reaction to all that we just heard from Kyrie Irving?
The reaction was that when I was a child, I met people that were different than me on a basketball court. Not necessarily in my synagogue or even in my Jewish school, but on a basketball court. And so the fact that this ball is tearing people apart right now, it not only makes me mad, but it makes me scared. And not scared for myself, but actually scared for my own children, the kids in my own community and the kids around the world that take a tweet up there in the Twitterverse and the Instagram and the social media and take it as truth and then take that sometimes to action.
And some people might see this, as you mentioned, as just a social media post, but I always pride myself on educate myself so that I can educate others. Can you educate us as to the real life consequences of a post like this?
Absolutely. The real life consequences start in a tweet, but end up in my driveway here in Los Angeles when I get a baggie saying the Jews are responsible for COVID, the Jews are responsible for XYZ. The real life
Which is facts.
consequences are when last week in my own Jewish school of middle school students on their way to a flag football game, their coach who was not Jewish, they're having an argument or a discussion about Kanye and Adidas, and the coach is, yes, I believe with Kanye.
He believed what Kanye, the coach, who he said non-Jewish, family, pay attention. And the reason why he believed in Kanye because he knows that they are frauds.
That was the only adult on the bus. And those kids were scared out of their mind, but they were educated and they were able to defend themselves. And the last consequence was from an email I got from a 4th grader yesterday. It says, I love wearing Kyrie shoes. And I am so sad in my heart that I put those shoes away. And so those are consequences, not about basketball and shoes, which believe me, I watched you guys growing up. You were our role models, but we have to be better role models in terms of our hearts and our souls.
If we could back up for just one moment, I think we need to start this conversation from a place of education and understanding. Why is the material in this book and film so deeply offensive?
Absolutely. So just here in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles City Council passed 2 days ago the definition of anti-Semitism according to the IHRA, which is the International
According to the IHRA.
Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. And
a Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. It's something they came up with and made up to make a law. Got nothing to do with the Bible.
in that definition, it says that a perception of hatred to the Jewish community is the definition of anti-Semitism.
So it got nothing to do with the scriptures of being a real Jew. It got something to do with laws they made up for a Jewish community, a race that they made up, because we weren't called Jews. They just put that word in the Bible and say it's a translation.
Now, Charles Barkley asked me 2 days ago, have I read it or seen that movie? And so when he asked, I looked it up and I started seeing what those anti-Semitic tropes were. Number one, there's untruths there. And when untruths...
Now, he talking about our brother Ronald Dalton, his Hebrews and Negroes book and movie, which is facts. Majority of it is straight facts when it comes to the people and the DNA and the archaeology that he brings up. And the tribes and the priests over there that say who they are. It's facts. It teaches nothing against anti-Semitism. It don't teach nothing against it because it shows who are the Semites, the Shemitic people.
are then seen as truths to the next person, that leads to very dangerous consequences.
And the dangerous consequences is that their identity come at hand, that they are frauds.
If you and it's a title given to Christ, Philippians 2:11, and my name translates in the Hebrew language as Yahweh. So I went on to Amazon Prime. I was like, you know what, let me see if there are any documentaries on Yahweh. So went in the search bar, typed in Yahweh, that came up. Went out and shared it on my platform. That was my night. In terms of the backlash or what people call it, we're in 2022. History is not supposed to be hidden from anybody. And I'm not a divisive person when it comes to religion. I embrace all walks of life. You see it on all my platforms. I talk to all races, all cultures, all religions. And my response would be, it's not about educating yourself on what Semitism is and what anti-Semitism is. It's really about learning the root words of where these come from and understanding that this is an African heritage that is also belonging.
They ain't like that when he said this is an African heritage.
Belonging to the people. Africa is in it, whether we want to dismiss it or not. So the claims of anti-Semitism and who are the original chosen people of God, and we go into these religious conversations and it's a big no-no. I don't live my way like that. I don't live my life that way. Excuse me. I grew up in a melting pot, and I say a melting pot of all races, white, black, red, yellow, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, and you can see the way I live my life now. I'm not here to be divisive. So they could push their agenda. I don't want to say they, because I'm not identifying any one group or race of people, but I'm in a unique position to have a level of influence on my community. And what I post does not mean that I support everything that's being said or everything that's being done, or I'm campaigning for anything. All I do is post things for my people in my community and those that it's actually going to impact. Anybody else that has criticism, and obviously wasn't meant for them.
Let me just reveal some things. First of all, is that the Jews who are brought in Israel, most of them are white. Not most of them, almost all of them are white, including me. I was brought in Israel from a country which is called Bulgaria. It's a European country. And I can tell you that in every European country, there are Jews, and there is so-called organization, Jewish Agency, which is trying to take those Jews to Israel. If you track this organization, you can find out that this is not an Israeli organization. This is an American organization. Jewish Agency is an American organization which has the exclusive right to decide who is Jewish and who is not on this planet, and who to be taken to Israel and who's not. Now, if you do research, you will find out that in Africa, in Black Africa, they're looking for Jews only in Ethiopia. They bring Jews only from Ethiopia. And I can tell you by knowing a lot of people, Ethiopian Jews here in Israel, that they're treated very badly, very badly. And many of them commit suicide because they cannot take it. So they come from some place in Ethiopia, they don't have much there, but they live decent life. And when they come here and try to be humiliated and so on, some of them cannot even take it. Now, what I'm trying to say is that why from each white country this Jewish agency is trying to bring Jews, and when it's about Black Africa, they're going to Ethiopia, and this is where they stop. The only one place. Now, because of the same thing, they're trying to do the white supremacy here. They try to bring white guys here and to take the supremacy over Arabs, which are the local citizens, and over blacks, which are so far they're only the Ethiopian Jews. Now, what I'm trying also to say is that another question is why America needs Israel. In Israel there is no oil like in other Middle Eastern countries. There's nothing they can be attracted to. But why do they do all these things? Why do they invest money, bring white people and so on, and then build their system of white supremacy, just like in America they build in Israel? Why? And I can tell you why. Because the true Jews, according to the Bible, you can check it in the Bible, you can read Job 30 and some other places. They have never been white. They have been people of color. And they have not stopped in Ethiopia. They were in Ethiopia, Sudan, and they have settled in West Africa. From West Africa, they have been taken as slaves to America. Brothers and sisters, blacks of America, It's you. You are the true Hebrews. You are the true Hebrews from the Bible. America gonna do everything, gonna invest as much money as it has, gonna fight as much wars as they can, gonna invite as much weapons as they can just to hide this away from you. Gonna take Israel, gonna bring white people here, and to tell you these are the Jews. Gonna kill you, gonna kill Arabs, gonna mistreat white people like this guy, just to tell you this lie that you are nobody and we are the Jews with all the history and so on. It has been deleted, your history. You don't know who you are. Don't forget about it. This is why America has been taking your history away, never to find out that it's all about you. I'm telling you this, please. I don't ask you to come to Israel and to start a revolution. I'm just asking you to start thinking this way, to believe me a little bit, because I'm living in Israel and I'm part of this injustice. I really believe that people like me and you, we can bring the justice back. Thank you.
Now that was a Jewish guy. Now a brother like that, he can serve us in the kingdom. Because he's bringing truth to the matter, exposing them. Well, let's read a few scriptures. Revelations 2:9. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. So these people have been prancing around. This Revelation, fam. So even then, there was people saying that they were Jews, saying they were Israelites, family, and they were not. And even in this present day, we have them now. Even the Jewish guy just told you, those people are not real Jews, according to the Bible, who the real Jews are. But let's get into it. We'll go to Joel 3. We'll start at verse 1. For behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, Japhet, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage, Yasharal, whom they have scattered among the nations. Now, we already know who the people who've been scattered among the nations. Us, the Negroes, the true people of Yahweh. We are Yasharal family. And parted my land. Yeah, our land was taken and divided up. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink. Yeah, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Y'all know who them is, right? A lot of people don't know. Think them Africans. Well, they are Africans, but they're not actually all black Africans. Most of them are white Africans, known as Jewish people. And all the coast of Palestine, family. These will be your Jewish people. Not all of them, most of them, because I'm going to get into it. Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that you might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither you have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And he is raising us out of this place where they have sold us all over the earth right now, family. Who they call us now Negroes. We are Yasharala. Now, old Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine, family. Pay attention. Well, you know who Zidon is. Those are the people that most of the people are calling themselves Jewish people. Genesis 10:19. And the border of the Canaanites was from Sidon. You see that? As thou comest to Gerar and Gaza, and thou goest unto Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zobim, even unto Lasha. But you need to understand the Canaanite family. I'm going to get another one for you. Matthew, there's 3 groups, family. There's more than 3 groups, but the main 3 groups, you got the lower class, the servants of servants. Those are the Canaanites, the ones you see. Then you got, they level up, the next higher ranked group over there. You got the Japhet, sons of Japhet. Then right above Japhet, you got some more Jewish Edomites, family. So you got Edomites, Japhites, and Canaanites. And these are the Canaanites you send. They be putting up, running all around crazy in an uproar. But we go to Matthew. We go to verse 21. And Yahushua went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Zidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan. You see that? See who coming out of the coast of Tyre and Zidon? It's going back to the same people. So came out and cried unto him. Okay. But this is the concept. Yahushua departed to the coast of Tyre and Sidon, and behold, a woman of Canaan came out. So you know who dwelling over there and was dwelling there, because they've been dwelling in our land since. But let's get into it. DNA from Bible's Canaanites live in modern Arabs and Jews, family. And this National Geographic. They are best known as the people who lived in a flowing with milk and honey until they were vanquished by the ancient Israelites and disappeared from history. You see this? But a scientific report, you see what it said now, family? They are best known as the people who lived in a land flowing with milk and honey until they were vanquished by the ancient Israelites. We are the ancient Israelites. We had to go in there and get the Canaanites out of our land. But if you understand the story, you know what I'm talking about. An Israelite by ancient Israelites and disappeared from history. But a scientific report published today reveals that the genetic heritage of the Canaanites survives in modern day Jews and Arabs, family. So these people are not even Shemitic. They are Hamitic. They're Hamitic. And some of them, and the only ones is Esau that can highlight by he's Shemitic, but we are the Shemites. And we're given the promise. He's the highest hierarchy over them. And you got some of the Japhites, the European Jews, and then you got the Canaanite Jews, which are the ones you're seeing all the time. Let's get into it. The study in cell also shows that migrants from distant Caucasus mountains combined with the indigenous populations to forge a unique Canaanite culture. You see that? That dominated the area between Egypt and Mesopotamia during the Bronze Age, lasted from approximately 3500 BC to 1200 BC. So they also shows that migrants from the distant Caucasus Mountains combined with these indigenous populations, which they're not actually indigenous. The Canaanites come in our land when they're not supposed to. Find that in the book of Jubilee. They're not Shemitic, they're Hamitic. And these are the ones you see into about the Jewish rabbis and stuff. They showing their lowest hierarchy. Esau trying to hide, but we all know who they are. So you got these Canaanites hollering about anti-Semitic, and Japhites, the European Jews, talking about anti-Semitic. Neither one of them is Shemitic. One of them Japhet and the other one is Hamitic. The team extracted ancient DNA from the bones of 73 individuals buried over the course of 1,500 years at 5 Canaanite sites scattered across Israel and Jordan. They also factor in data from an additional 20 individuals from our site previously reported. Go down. Individuals from all sites are highly genetically similar, says co-author and molecular evolutionist Leron Carmel of Jerusalem's Hebrew University. So while the Canaanites lived in far-flung city-states and never coalesced into an empire, they shared genes as well as a common culture. The researchers also compared the ancient DNA with that of modern populations and found that most Arab and Jewish groups, you see that, in the region owe more than half of their DNA to Canaanites and other peoples who inhabited the ancient Near East, an area encompassing much of the modern Levant, Caucasus, and Iran. Let's go on to the next. So we got the Hamites, Canaanites. Hold on. Which are these people right here? They're Hamitic family. The Jewish people are Hamitic. They're not Shemitic. And Canaanites. Let's go back. The people of modern-day Lebanon can trace their genetic ancestry back to the Canaanites. New research finds. So the modern-day Lebanon also. Watch this. This is your modern-day Lebanon people, family. Who this was? You thought I pulled up another Jewish picture, didn't you? Because these are their relatives. Let's go back to the Canaanites, family. These are both Canaanites. These call themselves Lebanese, but go ahead. These ones call themselves Jewish and holler by anti-Semitic when they are Hamitic. And they are known as Canaanites, according to the DNA family. So, I don't know what kind of game they playing. Look at them. Genesis 36:2. We got Esau family. Esau took his wives of the daughters of Canaan. Ada, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. Aholibamah, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Zibeon, the Hivite. You see this? You got a sect of Jewish people that are Edomites. That's one of their highest ranking sectors. And they're underneath the fallen angels of serpents, the reptilians and all the other, whatever you want to call them, family. And then you got the Japhites underneath Esau, European Jews. And then you got these Canaanites, a whole bunch of them. A lot of Canaanites. Calling themselves the Jewish people and holler about anti-Semitic. These people are Hamitic. Only one can holler something is Esau, but he can't holler anti-Semitic because he over there chilling in that land too. He all around ruling different countries in disguise, fam. Well, that's who you got. But the ones you mainly seeing will be the Canaanites hollering that anti-Semitic stuff, fam. Same people right here. The Canaanites right here hollering out that anti-Semitic when they Hamites. They Hamitic, not Semitic. They're not Shemitic. But they call it, it said Semitic, and they put it into a law if you talk about they made up community. Because we know they call it Khazars and a whole bunch of other stuff, fam. The Jewish guy just told you. They not Jews. They were brought over there, even most from Europe. We'll get into that too. We got Psalms 83:4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. They have said, you should say, don't say just he, they said this. They come and cut us off from being a nation. That the name of Yasharal may be no more remembered. They ain't calling themselves no Yasharal. Calling themselves Israelis, Jewish. And they thought that Jews, but it's not even what we call ourselves. We Yahweh. They come up with some Jews. Somebody that's a translation. Second Exodus 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world. And Yaquab, Jacob, Yaquab is the beginning of it that follows. So they know when their disguise is broken, the man of sin is revealed, the fallen, who they worship, and the powers that are going on in the darkness of this world, the ones that is also spiritual. They know what time it is, the end of their world. We go to Obadiah. Verse 6, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of your confederacy have brought you even unto the border. The men that were at peace with you have deceived you and prevailed against you. They that eat your bread have laid a wound under you. There is none understanding in him. Shall I not in that day, says Yahweh, even destroy the wise man out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau? And thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed to the end, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Why, family? For the violence against thy brother Jacob, Yaquab, and these are Negroes, see? Shame, which is us, we come from Yaquab, shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever. Because you do got some black Edomites, but the majority of them are not black. But you do got some black Edomites. But then you got the rest of them called, they ain't black, they're white, they call themselves Jewish. They got different sectors of the Jewish people. Esau, Japhet, and all these Canaanites run around talking about anti-Semitic. They're Hamitic. And that day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captives, his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem. Even you was one of them. So even Esau was one of them. It wasn't just Japhet and just Cain. Esau was along with this family. We know Ishmael played some part in it. That's why they got bumped up, beat up, and got their identity stolen too. Hold on, let's go. Let's just continue. Ain't trying to make this one that long. You go to the ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. 4 founding mothers who lived in Europe 1,000 years ago were the ancestors of 2/5 of all Ashkenazi European origin. You see that? Jews. So I'm going to bring the info. This is the conclusion of a team of researchers at the Technion and Israel Institute of Technology. So they even telling on their own selves who they are. They just got these Canaanites in an uproar to about anti-Semitic, but they Hamitic. And then you got these Japhetic Jews. They're not Semitic. After they compared DNA sequences from nearly 2,000 Jews with those of 11,500, 9 Jewish people, and 67 different populations around the world, the remaining 60% were found to have much more heterogeneous genetic origins. The team led by doctoral student Doron Bahar and his supervisor Professor Carl Skroki in the Technion Medical Faculty and Rambam Medical Center in Haifa published their findings online ahead of print publications in the American Journal of Human Genetics on 11 January. This article will appear in the print in the March edition. Professor Skroki, a nephrologist who also conducts genetic research, is known for his 1997 discovery of DNA marker evidence showing that most modern-day Jewish men of paternity inherit priestly caste of the Kohanim are descendants of a single common male ancestor. The latest discovery, which will be followed by genetic studies of the Jews minority in Israel and other communities, has important implications beyond its inherent historical interests, said Professor Skroki, as it adds to understanding of the mechanism of genetic health and disease in the different populations around the world. Let's go down. Because of its relative isolation over many centuries, the Ashkenazi population, which accounts for most of the world's Jews today, you see that, is also known to have accumulated some 20 recessive hereditary disorders, such as Tay-Sachs disease, that are rarely found in other populations. The team was studying mitochondrial DNA, mtDNA, passed on solidly by mothers to their children. Now, these people are claiming, they're what they claim, you know, the scriptures say, we claim I heritage from our father's lineage, family. We claim it from the father's side. These people say they claim it for the mother. And the Bible even tell you that we claim ours from our father. See, they wrote up the Talmud, and they tell you themselves that many of them tell you that they trace their ancestry from their mother's side. But pay attention. So you know they're not the real people of the book. They're not the people of Yahweh. We are, because we follow our line from our father's lineage. They talking about they get it from their mothers. Passed on solidly by mothers to their children. Found evidence of shared maternal ancestry of Ashkenazi and non-Ashkenazi Jews. A finding showing a shared ancestral pool that is consistent with previous studies that were based on the Y chromosome. This evidence pointed to a similar pattern of shared paternal ancestry of Jewish populations around the world, originating in the Middle East. They concluded that the 4 founding types of mtDNA likely to be Middle Eastern origin went a majority overall expansion in Europe over the last 1,000 years. The 4 founding mothers, look at this. They tried to make American got founding fathers, but look, now they got the 4 founding mothers, he added, are from lineages that originate long before the launching of the Jewish people, some 3,400 years ago. It probably came from the Middle Eastern gene pool. Let's go down. I'm looking for it. What's that? They're speaking of different little groups, because all the groups not the same, as I was telling you. But the Ashkenazi, one of the largest, are mostly European descent. That's the point of it. But let's continue. Don't want to make it too long. See, these are Edomite Jews. Right here. We got your Canaanite Jews right here. Hamitic. They got 8 family, Lebanese. Canaanites also. Hamitic. You got the Edomite Jews right here. Esau. Let's get another one for you. All right, I got your Edomite Jews still right here. Edomite Jews. There you go. Got some more Edomite Jews. Let's go down. Look, Genesis 9:27. Yahweh shall enlarge Japhet, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem. So we know Japhet was going to be dwelling in the tents of Shem. This verse here clarifies a couple different scriptures in the book. And one of them was speaking of what I'm talking about now. And Canaan shall be his servant. We already know the Canaanites dwelling in our land. So you got Jewish Canaanites, make a majority of the population. Then you got Jewish, European, Japhites in our land. And you got Edomite, Jewish Edomites. There goes some more Japhetic Jews, European Jews. you got some Japhetic Jews, family. Remember, the Arabs stole the Israelites' identity. A lot of people don't know that. And the Arabs, Esau, Cain, Japhet, all them, they came up with this group too. You only find a few Ishmaelites probably among them and others among them. But they mainly make up Esau, Cain, and Japhet children, the Arabs, and the Jewish people. I'm going to get ready to end it, but let's read this one. Hosea 1 and 11. Now, when she had weaned Loruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. And Yahweh called his name Loami, for you are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Yasharal shall be at the sand of the sea. And now those Jewish people, none of them as the sand in the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered, nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living Father. We are the sons of Yahweh. It's going to be said to us. Then shall the children of Yahweh, they got Judah, see? And the children of Yasharal, they put Israel, be gathered together and appoint themselves one head. You see this? The children of Judah and Israel, the children of Yahweh and Yasharal, which is us. Be gathered together. Now, them people over there in the land, calling themselves one group, one tribe, that they made up, Jew, and trying to say it come off of Judah, which they came up with that word too. We are called Yahweh. But they say they one group, and they ruling the world. When the scriptures don't say nothing about one group of Israelites going to be ruling this world, or ruling over all this stuff. Think about that. And they say just one tribe of Israelites is going to be ruling while the rest of the tribes are in captivity. So they're in the land because they're of the nations. Some of you like to use the word Gentiles, but they have actually two meanings. It means nations, and it talks about a Pacific Israelite groups that are being called Gentiles because heathens and idol worship. But these people ruling, calling themselves one tribe, ruling. And ain't nowhere in these scriptures that say that Judah was going to be ruling everything by himself with everybody in captivity. See that? It say that they shall be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. You see that? For great shall be the day of Jezreel. So y'all know these people fakes and frauds, family. It ain't no, the scriptures tell you that they fakes and frauds. Go back again, Revelation 2:9. And I know that works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. They're talking about us, our poverty, but we are rich. And they're rich talking about spirit. But Yahweh, Ephesians 12:4, who is rich in mercy. See, riches ain't got nothing to do with always talking about money and wealth. For his great love, wherewith he loved us. We are rich. We rich with his love, his spirit. Colossians 2, that their hearts might be comforted, being knit together in love, and unto all riches of the full assurance of understanding. We get that riches of understanding. To the acknowledgement of the mystery of Yahweh. You see that? And the Father, and of Hamashiach. That's why they say the three are one, because it stays up. You got the mystery of Yahweh, and of the Father, and of Hamashiach. A lot of people don't know that the scriptures do that. But yeah, they want to play games. When they talk about riches, that's talking about in the spirit. That's talking about the knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's talking about his riches of his love, because the earth belongs to us. But we go to Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Yahweh, my strength and my fortress and my refuge, in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee. So the nations shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Yeah, their children coming up, they teach their children lies. Their children finding out the truth. They inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. This thing's been done to our people too. We inherited lies from the colonizers. But these people teaching their own children to live the lie. That's what's different. It's different when you're teaching the person you got captive lies. But when you're teaching your own children lies that they somebody they not, and they actually believe in this nonsense. Then they figure out the DNA, the scientific results, and what the scriptures say. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews. Ain't number one people running around this earth hollering that they were Jews. What, 1947? Pop up to my, they the Jews. And are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. That's why they do all this wickedness, causing all these problems. Synagogue of Satan. They're trying to keep us from coming back to ruling the earth in righteousness, so that man can have rest and peace and mercy. And that's the problem, fam, because they are the synagogue of Satan. The Edomite Jews, European Jews, call themselves Ashkenazi. And the Canaanite Jews, which is the majority of them over there, Canaanites, Hamitic. And they're the ones you keep seeing on the news stuff and all that, talking about anti-Semitic. They're Hamitic. And then you got European Jews, Ashkenazi. They're Japhet. I don't know why they're trying to use the word anti-Semitism, man. And Esau, the only one can holler about he Semitic. But he hides with the power, because you know him and his serpents and Satan who he worships. They're falling. It's the end of his world. I like to give all praise to the Heavenly Father. Kahalab now Yahweh. Basham Mashiach Yahushua. KLT. Hello, I am no, like I'm watching tell me who gon' feed them. They won't walk over X when you need them. Black Panther, no Disney movie. We gon' walk them down with them eagles. Free them. They say what they like it's flattery. I speak the truth in this prophecy. Stay strapped with that sword in the eye to be labels. And so look, come follow me. Long way from that store where them pilots be. I had that roll and no total, no bother me. Sitting at the top, no monopoly. Kanye and the one come and follow me. Running the game so long, need a breather. Strikes on my back, let they beat him. Gotta stay strong, you must finish my reading. Gotta stay young, let that switch up that light when they see me. Underrated in the game, so you better take it easy. Stepping up my toes, you don't really wanna see me. They hit it, then they go Houdini. Trying to make me seem rubbing on my neck, and I'm pop like a genius. Still my grind, you know we break. Running it back, and I call it every play. I wanted it back, they on my back. You don't wanna balance that swim, what we say.